Good evening, everyone. We are now live to another episode of the Berry Talks. I am George Weert from Multitool Consulting, coming from Portugal. We are here to talk about another Berry moment, the conversation with leading global players, a meeting place to know personalities, companies in technology that are coming from the berry industry all over the world. Normally, I have here two co-hosts that are not present today due to other agendas, their own agendas. But I have here two wonderful guests coming out from a company that is known in a market, and I'm going to introduce you now here to Geert, Weert, and Hubert. Welcome.
Thank you, George.
So, Hubert, you are a new face on ABB, according what the timeline. Geert is the owner and also the creator of the company. Can Geert introduce yourself? And after that, can also you, Hubert, talk about your role in the last months that you started in ABB?
Yeah, I am Geert Weert. I am the breeder in the ABB. We started the program like 2005, 2006. So we have quite a reputation, and we keep a close look on the development of the raspberry industry. So in the beginning, the focus was more on primocane, and now the focus is more to have low chill. And in the near future, we will look into better plants to use as more or less robot harvesting. So it's an ongoing process, and we hope to introduce every 3 to 5 years a few new selections into the industry.
Okay. Thank you. Hubert, you are the newcomer in the last year, so probably you have a lot of new things to tell us about the future of the ABB. As CEO, what is your role at the moment, and what is your provision for the future?
Yeah. So thank you, George. Thank you, Geert. As you said, George, so I started with ABB in July 2022, so 8 months or 9 months from now. I knew the ABB program by the plants way, because I used to work in Morocco in plant propagation. So that was my first step in the berry industry. Through the plants, started the plant propagation in Morocco in 2018 as the first commercial nursery for propagation in Morocco. Had the chance to meet Geert at that time for plant production. So when the opportunity showed up to join the team and to lead the operation at ABB, I jumped on it, and here I am. So my role at ABB is to make sure that the commercial availability of the plants or the varieties is matching with the market opportunities and the selections. The purpose for what the selection has been bred. So my role is much more into commercial management, into licensing and contracting, and having a global vision of what our varieties are capable of, and to make sure that we place them in the right places with the right customers in order to achieve the highest value possible for in all the value chain. So from the breeding program to the final retailer, going through all the steps, being a nursery, growing, and fruit production.
Okay, very, very complex work to do, because you have different roles inside of the company. We know already ABB for years, and ABB has known varieties on the market of raspberry production worldwide. Geert, can you talk about the first generation of varieties and genetics, and go through the evolution until the new varietal situation now. And also, Hubert, you can support that answer with your, as an outsider before, and now inside of the company, what was your idea from the first generations and now the new generations? What is they are bringing to the market? Please give your opinion on that.
In the chronicle order, the first generation was the Kweli, Kwanzaa, Imara. Those were revolutionary varieties in way of double cropping, so a good autumn crop and a good spring crop. And that is followed by some high yielding varieties like Sarafina and Wengi. And we also introduced a new low chill variety like Shani. With those genetics, we developed the third generation, and the third generation is ABB 128, 132, 135, and 136. And all of those 4 varieties have their specific traits at the moment, and mainly the focus is on fruit quality and fruit color and low chill. Go ahead, Hubert.
Thank you, Geert. So as Geert mentioned earlier, the breeding program started in 2005, so nearly 20 years ago from now. So it's quite an old breeding program, which is a competitive advantage, I believe. At that time, so 2005, 2008, the availability of varieties on the market, on the breeding market, was very low. And when Kwanzaa Kweli were introduced, it was one of the first, if not the only, decent or suitable alternative from what was existing at that time, which was mainly Driscoll's varieties. So these variety came into a context where competition was low and need for new variety was high. So these varieties, by being completely suitable for commercial production, really had an extremely rapid, quick start, with a good acreage growth and a good solution that was brought to the market to bring more value into the chain. Then, as Geert said, the second generation of ABBs showed up. The second generation was more into high yielding, and we were seeing the first low chill varieties that were showing up, and now we're releasing the third generation. So 20 years, 3 generation of varieties. So it means that our process of selection is extremely, let's say, it's brought to
developing.
An extreme. We will never release a variety that we are not 200% sure that it is something new for the market, something new for the growers, something new in the value chain that can really bring some change into the industry. So basically, that's how our breeding program was designed. First, we have basically 3 lines of breeding. The first line, which Kwanzaa is part of, is the premium line. What we call the premium line, all the focus is put on the fruit quality. So fruit size, color, taste, shelf life. So it is really focusing 100% on the fruit to be able for the growers to capture more value out of a kilo of fruit by having something more premium than what the competition is capable of offering. Then on the side, we have what we call the easy to grow line. The easy to grow line, so Kweli was part of it. Now we have new selections that are coming into it. So there were also Wengi at the time, Sarafina. These varieties and Rafiki, these varieties are meant to bring solutions to the growers when, for example, growing skills or growing conditions or growing infrastructure are not extremely developed, and these varieties, by the vigorness that they have, by the flexibility they have, are completely suitable for commercial production despite the conditions of growing, which are not sometimes perfect for growing raspberries. And then we have the third line of breeding, that is the winter line, where Shani is part of, and more recently 132. This line has been bred in order to achieve a fruit production when the market is in need of fruits, meaning in the middle of the winter, where all the standard varieties or double croppers are in the lowest part of their curve or even zero. We can bring solutions. We can have fruits at that time, and by the market not having a lot of availability at that time, we ensure a high value for the growers. So this is how our breeding program started, and this is where we are now.
Yeah. Picking up what you both said, normally we have seen in the last 15 years, after all this the genetic has been introduced, also a lot of new breeding programs coming on competition, new genetics coming to the market from Spain, from Italy, also from the Netherlands, but we see also that the lifespan of a variety is no longer than 8 years if it's not really good. So you already mentioned some topics around this question, but for both, what is you think the variety needs to be a reference for the growers and also for the consumers? Because we have all two different opinions always when we talk about raspberries. Growers normally prefer high yielders because it's based on economics, but consumers prefer on taste. What is your middle term here when you are selecting the varieties?
Now, we on the short term, we have also some test panels in the greenhouse. We have all the selections to be eaten by consumers, and on basis of that, we try to improve the taste. Although taste is always a very delicate object, and we are more saying the variety needs to have a nice tasting experience, and because one man or woman likes more an acidic and the other one likes more a sweet one, but in general the variety needs to have a pleasant eating experience, and there is mostly where we are looking at for the consumer. For the grower, we look more for a variety where the grower can make money with, so that the fruit is kindly bigger, easier to pick, better on the outside of the plant. So every kilo that a picker can pick more in an hour is a huge cut on labor cost, and everybody know that labor costs are killing the raspberry production heavily. So if you can pick 1 or 2 kilo in an hour more, that will give the grower a better profit. Although also with cheaper plants, because with low chill varieties you can start with a plug plant and have production in the winter time. And the other way of having fruit is in the winter is to start with long cane. Look, and long cane is more expensive than plug plants. That's what we all know. So this is where we're looking at mainly.
Yeah, thank you, Geert. Yeah, the thing, you're right, George. Most of the let's say newest released in the market don't last long because they were not bringing extra value from the beginning. It was something new, and the market is very eager to test something new. And as you know, in our industry, you cannot test in 6 months. You need 1 year to start the trialing, then a second year to start understanding what's going on, then a third year to try to put it on a market scale, on a commercial scale, and then 4 year, and then if it's not good, it starts to decrease, and that's how we reach a lifespan of 5 to 8 if nothing is extraordinary. The good thing about our breeding program is the fact that it's old, and we have history, and we can look back and connect dots on what has been successful and what hasn't been successful. And if we look at a variety like Kwanzaa, for example, that was released in 2008, I believe, it is so we are in 2000, we are 15 years later, and it is still our best performer in terms of acreage, global acreage. It represents more than 40% of our global sales or acreage, meaning that, okay, there is something special about this variety. And in fact, if we look deeper, the special thing about this variety is its fruit. All the other aspects are not extraordinary. They bring nothing else than the competition can bring. From an agronomical point of view, it is not extraordinary. From a predictability point of view, it is bad. But the quality of its fruit allows the grower or the marketer to capture more value per kilo of fruit, and then, of course, to split this value between the different players of the chain. So we have this success, and now we use it as a basis for breeding our premium line. And for a variety having a extended lifespan, you need to bring more value to the chain. And basically there are three ways to do it: or having a fruit that allows you to capture more value by saying each kilo, because it has something different, it has something more than other fruits per kilo, so it can be shelf life, size, color, taste, all these things. Or you can lower the growing prices, so you capture extra value for the grower, and this is where the easy to grow line strikes, because by having a high yielding variety and well displayed fruit, then the picking costs go down, the variety is easy to manage. So by lowering the growing cost, then you allow the grower to capture more value. Or the third way to do it is to produce fruit when nobody has fruit. And then, of course, and that's the case of Adelita, for example. That's the success of Adelita comes from that. This variety is capable of producing fruit when the market is begging for fruits, and that's the way to do it. So how to capture value, extra value into the chain for all the different players. So the grower, the marketer, the nursery, and the breeding program. So or with the fruit, or with the easiness to grow, or with the fact of growing fruits when nobody is capable of.
Now, yeah, you see more or less a kind of same development in the strawberries. Look, everybody know El Santa, and that variety is very long on the market, because the market know what they buy if they buy El Santa. And we see the same development with Kwanzaa. At our auction in Zaltbommel, they still love Kwanzaa. And it always will be a place in the market, because it has this nice premium price for the fruit you can get. And if you are able to grow it year round or the same, then you can make money. And it's like Hubert said, it's all about capturing value. And people can do that with an easy to grow variety and make more kilos, or with a little bit more difficult variety to grow in substrate, the Kwanzaa, to get a higher kilo price.
Okay. Well, that's the always the question that a lot of people do is, if we have this evolution already since the last 20 years with the introduction of the genetic that came from Driscoll's, and then it can show up also in a moment that the market was asking for raspberries. We achieve a plateau at the moment, in my opinion, because
Yes.
there's already a kind of a mist in the air. What's going to be the future? So you are releasing now the new generation in a moment that the market and production, especially in the last season, growers are having doubts. There's instability in the consumption, price drops through different factors. We already know that the inflation worldwide, and also the war, and all this pre-COVID and post-COVID situation that we came through. So you are coming out with the new genetics. So how it's going to be, in your vision, the model of marketing this new genetics in order to bring that value, extra value to the market and also to the grower? What is in your opinions? what could be the steps to go under this and overcome the issues that we are facing now in the market.
I'll start with that one. So yeah, it's of course I agree with you, George. I think we've reached a point that is reached for the first time in the past 10 or 15 years in the beer industry. And until today, it was only growth, and more acreage and more acreage and more acreage. Now, yes, the model has shown its limits, and we need to think about new solutions, new ways of capturing value, not only putting more hectares of production and producing more kilos. That's more or less we've reached the top of this model. So there are two things. There are first the varieties themselves. Are they really bringing something extra to change the way of growing, to change the way of capturing the value? And then the second part is, how are we going to market them? I mean, how are we going to give licenses for growers or marketers to grow these varieties? And that needs to be managed on a really, really smart way, because opening completely the access to these varieties can, of course, can have for effect to overflow the market in a short period of time, because all the same varieties producing at the same period. So by having an extra production at the same time, of course, the value drops. So from the variety point of view, we believe that the 3 or 4 varieties that we are going to release in 2025 are really game changers, and one above all, but I think we'll have time to go into details about that. But from the marketing point of view, ABB was until today working with single player licenses per growing area. So one player for Morocco, Spain, Portugal, one player for Mexico, one player for Australia, one player for Netherlands, and that's ending, because this model was maybe okay 10 years ago or 15 years ago, when the acreage was 1/4 of what it is today. But now a lot of companies are playing on the market, a lot of acreage. I mean, the industry has professionalized, and we need to give access to more companies, to our varieties, for us to achieve growth, and for them to be able to capture the extra value that is brought on the market by our varieties. So we are going to switch, and we are switching already, from an exclusive one-player kind of license to a semi-exclusive kind of licenses. So by semi-exclusive, we will be selecting 2, 3, or 4 different companies per growing area, in order to achieve more hectare for us. We have acreage targets in different growing areas. So we want to achieve these targets by keeping the highest value possible on the fruit. So we will select different companies that are capable of marketing the fruits on their highest price and supply good quality fruits. So the selection is being done right now by the trials, and the idea is, from all the panel of trialers that we have, to pick the most committed one, the best one, that are capable of achieving the highest yield, the highest value, to bring something extra to the market.
Okay, thank you for the answer, Geert. You also have something to say about that, because you started the model. It was kind of unique, and now it's changing. What happens to, as Hubert say, what happens to try to look for another option, because we reach a plateau on in terms of production and the evolution of variety. So we need something extra.
Yeah. Okay. Now, I am always a little bit against those highly exclusive things, because on the end of the day, exclusivity is going always work against you, because in one way you are always in the beginning you're always short of fruit, and in the end when there is then you have an oversupply of fruit, and it is very difficult to manage if you have also on the marketing side too much fruit available, and you can't sell to anybody because you have this exclusive deal. So one way or the other, it's important to introduce new varieties with most preferred partners, to have a more or less a controlled introduction with the variety, that the new growers can understand the variety, and then after 3 or 5 years you can grow further with those varieties, that you make them available to other growers.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. No, yeah, yes, yes. This is something that we're going to explore in the next question. We already mentioned this, that after the success of varieties like Kwanzaa and Shani in different regions and continents, you mentioned already some of the varieties that you have in the portfolio, the new generation. What can you identify in the ones you have now, the new generation? What can be the value, not only on the production part, but also for the marketeer and all the consumer, for the licensee holders of your program? What can be the value to bring on the new genetics? Because we reach a plateau now. What is your understanding of the market, the consumption to really bring this varieties on the right place with the right people?
Improve. Oh, what was the question? Because you fall out a little bit, George.
Okay, I will repeat again. No problem. What I was saying was, after the success of Shani and Kwanzaa, as an example, in different regions, the new generation have a different model from what I am understanding from your answers. So, what's going to be the work of a licensee holder from your variety in terms of marketing the food, and which target consumer we are facing? We are facing the repeater, or you want to bring more people eating raspberries to expand more the consumption worldwide? Because if you've seen the last years, the Eastern Europe is increasing more production. We have already new growers coming there, and the Middle East and also the Caucasus area, it's looking for opportunities to try these new berries, but they are not exceeding the new genetics. What's going to be in your vision the future for the development of these varieties? It will be more Europe, Mexico, United States, Australia, or are you also going to bring this to other regions?
Of course, we bring it also to Mexico, to the USA, because that is still the biggest market to discover, especially Mexico. But the way how we like to increase the production, or not the production, but the consumption of raspberries, is to give people a better experience when they buy the raspberry. So a better shelf life, a better taste, and nice looking fruit like you have with Kwanzaa, because that is the point where this is our strongest point, that we work with the consumers and see what they like, and that is more or less what we keep. And our program is really well known because we are really strict on fruit color. The varieties that we produce currently, all the new selections, they have the same color for 7 to 10 days without getting any darker. So that is one of the strongest points that we have, and that is also what the supermarkets want. And that, in combination with a good taste and with a good production, then you have a super variety, and we still see a good increase of our genetics and development of the newer selections, that we can improve still on production and on shelf life. Right?
Yes, Hubert, it's your opinion
Yeah, I
on
agree with
this.
you. Yeah, raspberries is not a commodity. You do not buy raspberries to feed yourself. It's more a fun experience. it's a over-the-top experience from an eating perspective. So I agree 100% with Geert when he says we need to make the experience being so positive that you want to retry it again and again and again. But as people are not buying raspberries for its nutrition capacities, then we need to make them available. We need to go for a pleasant experience at a decent price. So that's where that's how our breeding program has been selected. So we've always have been strong on the fruit quality, first with Kwanzaa, and it's going on the same way right now with big fruits, really light color, excellent taste. So now we need to focus on how can we lower the production costs, and that's where the high yielding varieties strike. The easy to grow line are capable of achieving a really higher yield than the average on the market. And by achieving that, then we expect to be able to lower the value, not to lower the value, but to lower the price of a kilo of fruit and to make it more available for more people. But at the end of the day, we are breeders, so we focus a lot on the growing side, but it is really kind of not an illusion, but controlling the consumption is something that I think it's still quite far away from our targets. We can try to improve the experience, but bring more people to eat more fruits. That's not an easy task, and somehow we need to follow the trend and make sure that what we supply to the market is matching with what consumers are expecting, and that's how we.
Yeah, and another thing is that, and that is an ongoing process, that we are always looking to varieties to grow them with as less as possible chemicals. We have now a program where we introduce a lot of predators for red spider and for other mites and thrips. And this system works really well. And we see in our seedling fields and selection fields that the possibilities with predators are really, really big. We see a huge difference in one or the other selection. So, and on that respect, we look also to minimize the use of chemicals. And also when people are growing still in the soil, varieties that can grow better in the soil give more vigor, and varieties that you have to grow in pots because they are a little bit less vigorous. So on that perspective, we also look to minimize the amount of chemicals and fertilizer to use in the growing system.
Yeah. That's what's happening in general. From my point of view, and also I think you also mentioned something like that. That's Hubert. That's from the point of view of the breeder. You need to be close to the market, but at the same time, you're not as close as you should be because you're not fully integrated. You don't have a fully integrated system like the other company has. And for these circumstances, you need partners that are really close to the market, and they are marketeers, and they have all these relations in retail that they capture all the information and data from the consumption point of view. And as you can see in the industry, in the berries like the blueberries, they are marketing. In the United States, they are using this fruit to market a healthy lifestyle. We all know that the berries are very rich in antioxidants, but we are not using the raspberry to capture that healthy lifestyle eaters. The blueberry industry is doing this, and the raspberry is already here for more time. We had the earlier boom in Europe, especially in Europe, with the raspberries than the blueberries. and it's really surprising that nobody picked this health issues to combine with a healthy lifestyle and diets to promote more eating this type of fruit, because you can have a bad experience, but you also can have excellent experience. I can give an example. If you go to Eastern Europe, especially in Romania, the consumers from the point of view that what I've seen and also what I heard from the locals is they prefer raspberries than blueberries because traditionally it's connected to their region. So if you go to the supermarket, it's more quickly empty the shelves of raspberries than the blueberries. So this is fascinating, and we should, in my opinion, really look to the future and see what is the traditions in the country and to try to develop it more local. I think the retailers and also the markets need to start improving their own internal market, because most of the times we are growing for export, because there's more opportunities to sell and in the north of Europe and the United States. That's why Mexico is producing for the United States. That's why the south of Europe and also Morocco is focusing exporting to the Northern European market. But we should do that work ourselves in our countries to try to promote the eating habits. And this is why I think what is missing in raspberries, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree with this, but we probably a moment because we are focused too much on heavy food that the varieties lifespan depends also on the eating habits of every country, to make sure that we have availability and consumption on a point that can be profitable for both growers, both sides.
I
don't know what your on this.
I 100% agree with you, George. It's blueberries has exploded quicker than rasp, despite the fact that raspberries were on the market before and consumption was more popular before. The only reason I could imagine is the shelf life of a raspberry is extremely short, and it is really complicated to promote something that you only have a few days to eat after buying it. From the blueberry perspective, with an extended shelf life, you can make people buying it and then they realize that yes, the fruit is good and I can keep it in my fridge for 10 days and still very good eating experience, and everything aligns somehow. With rasp, it's just my imagination and doesn't mean that it's the truth. But if you take both of the fruits and taking in consideration that they have more or less the same advantages in terms of healthiness, let's say, the only difference I can see is the extremely short shelf life of a raspberry. But it is also extremely interesting for us, meaning that if we manage to improve the shelf life, if we manage to make it more more available for more time for the consumers, then we have an extremely high or extremely big space for improvement, and that's also one of our main focus in the breeding program, because the main weakness of the rasp is the shelf life. So it's nearly like dealing with fresh fish. I mean, you have 7 days, 10 days, and then you're done. So it is extremely challenging, but also a point of focus extremely important in our breeding program, and it is something that is passionating somehow.
Geert, anything to say?
No, I think that's more all right. That is the way how we look at it, and like I earlier said, people must have a pleasant eating experience, and then they will come back. That's it.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's very complex.
It is very complex. Look, and look, we are not in a fight with the industry, but look, you can't change the color. instantly. It is a very, very long process, and everybody you speak in the chain, they all want that the raspberry stay the same color as they buy them. And yeah, that is
Complicated.
how they are in the supermarket. But if you talk with people on the street, they prefer a little bit more darker red raspberry. But yeah, that is the problem at the moment where we're facing. So hey, we in the supermarket we are with a very orange variety with less taste. And when you have a nice red one with a better taste, the supermarket will choose for the light one, for the orange one, and the consumer will choose for the darker one. And there you have your conflict. And yeah, then it is in our job to find a middle way in that. And yeah, hopefully with some of the new varieties, with the new selections, we are quite to that point that we say, hey, people can leave them for a couple of days in the fridge and still have a good taste. So we're making progress.
Yeah. Well, we are about to finish our conversation. I will just wrap up. So what this was the new evolution of genetics from your breeding program from the early 2000s to nowadays. The still presence of Kwanzaa, still the presence of varieties like Rafiki, Shani. So the lifespan of the Kwanzaa, it's already more than 15 years. It's you already mentioned, Hubert, that still the biggest percentage of acreage that you have in your portfolio. So it is also fascinating that you have that right after 15 years. You have cases like Maravilla that's already 20 years in the market, and also Adelita more than 10 years. Now we have Kwanzaa reaching that point. There's more varieties for sure in the market that will reach that point because there still has opportunities. And as we see in Europe, we have different behaviors on consumption. Some more countries are looking for a lighter color raspberry. Some in the other side of the Europe, in Eastern Europe, they prefer, like you say here, also the darker ones. Because they connect the dark color to a more taste variety from the perspective from the consumer. So there's always this discussion between marketeers, retail, and consumption. So, and it is because it's not a commodity, and this is have a really small lifespan between 7 to 10 days. So the shelf life of the varieties are important. So that will be the evolution of the future. For sure, we want better varieties, better tasting varieties, and we want to increase the consumption of raspberries. We are in a moment that the market's a little misty. We don't know what is coming in the future because we are coming from a season that was not as good as expected. We are going through all these things in the world, war, inflation. So we need to work together to improve and get better in promoting a healthy lifestyle, not only with blueberries, because blueberries already have a big commission all over the world doing that, but we should do it also with raspberries, because it's still one of the most important crops in Europe, south of Europe and Morocco. So the acreage are increase earlier than the blueberries. So we want to keep feeding the people who are looking for a better lifestyle and also promoting other people to join the club. So this is the wrap up information that I want to drop to you. Thank you for making time for us, Hubert and Geert. Great to see that you are bringing new genetics. Hope to see that really soon in the supermarkets, in the fields. And I hope you have some good news during the year. I don't know if you are planning to be in any fair, any event in the next year. Maybe you can inform us now if you have something already in the table where you're going to be in the next couple months doing your promotions and your.
Now, growers are always welcome to see our trials. We have the first overwintered canes and the new shoots from the new selections starting to flower. So in 4 or 5 weeks' time, we have fruits. And the plan is also to have again an open week like we had last year, to perform that in August, September, to show the new selections to all our growers.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll have the open weeks during the summer. Well, we'll do a specific week in the production peak, but of course our R&D greenhouse is open to our customers and trialers and people interested anytime. In the Netherlands, you can see all of our selections, how we selected them, what kind of fruits you can expect, yield. Everything is recorded, so it's a very positive source of information. So this is during the summer. Then of course we'll be at the Food Attraction in the autumn. Also Morocco Berry Conference again, which is an excellent fair. Also ISFC, International Soft Fruit Conference. And of course, Food Logistica in Berlin next year.
Okay, that's you have already full year plan, so that's great. Hope to see you in the media for the vis that you are to do it in the summer, and hope that you have all that interest back again, and let's bring the raspberries up to an important level, because it's necessary. Yeah, it's important for all.
Yeah, I think with the new selections we'll be releasing and we're trialing right now, we will really bring new solutions, new options to the industry. Exactly. Especially with one of them. We were talking about Kwanzaa's lifespan, but if everything goes as planned, it should be stopped in a few years, because what's arriving behind will ripe it up. That's for sure.
Let's see what is the
keep
future
an eye on
bringing.
them. Keep an eye on them.
All right.
Yeah. So thank you for being with us. I want to finalize now our episode, thanking to all the people that are watching us and being our supporters in the last events. Every month we have episodes. Thank you for being in the Berry Talks, and next month we will have another episode about something that is also important in the berry industry. And thank you for having us. Have a good day.
Thank you very much, George. Thank you for the invitation, and see you soon.
Okay. We see each other soon.
You.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.